pop out?
All right, there. It's streaming now.
You've popped out to another window. Well, give me the other freaking window. Hi, welcome back.
Back up yet?
That is so weird. I had no problems before. Whatever.
All right, let's see if this
Whatever.
works. We are live.
Yep, we are live.
All right, we are back. Wow. Sorry about that. So apparently OBS just said, "Hey, screw you guys." So,
Did not like the
uh,
conversation.
apparently not. Apparently not, but we are back. Elena, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. All right. So, Mystic was like at the beginning of a very important and relevant tangent to the conversation.
I had no clue what we were talking about at that point. I know. Oh, yeah, we can read.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll come back to me. Tenets, all these ideas, all these things you have to live by.
Yes.
Um, so I think we were kind of talking about the use of tenets and the ideas behind it, blah blah blah. Wicca, get into it. It is a very appropriate spirituality all in of its own. It doesn't need to be spoken for; it speaks for itself. It's a great way to go. If it works for you, you should do it. Left hand path, specifically working with deities. If it works for you, you should do it. Um, my path, pagan. It's my own. I put it all together. It's like not just spaghetti at a wall. It's like spaghetti in a blender the size of a house and just spewing everywhere. That's my path. Works for me. It's great. I don't have any tenants. My tenants are don't be a dick. Um, and we were getting into like the Wiccan Read, and the Wiccan Read, it has all of these rules. Most people think it's just harm you none, do what you will. I'm like, but there's like 23 or 24 different parts to that, and it's pretty important for that spirituality to matter. But it is also the reason why one of the many reasons why I don't follow that path specifically because I deviate from that in ways that are pretty fundamental to my practice. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it allows personally. I don't think it allows the balance that I need um, to function spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the ultimate reasoning for that is when it comes down to thinking about pathways and changing your path and whatever path works for you, changing it as much as you want, whatever you want to do, however you want to do it is the right way to do it. The focus, if we are bucketing again that left hand path and right hand path, left has an opposite, it's right. Now, I do believe left hand path is not meant to be an opposing force to the right hand path. I don't think that's the purpose.
Mm-mm.
I
It's
don't
not
think
the
that's where it
point.
came from.
No.
Right. But if you do break it down to just those two pieces, it still comes down to finding the right thing and the path that works for you. Because even within that LHP, there's going to be 10,000 different ways to do it. There's a bunch of ways to find balance. There's different ways that people practice Wicca or paganism or heathenism or druidry or whatever it is that you do. And I think it's important that we recognize and respect all of those different options for finding what is right for you that allows you to be a better person and less of a dick.
Mm-hmm.
Because with LHP, like there's a lot of people I think, and I thought this way too, that when you're LHP, you're selfish and self-centered, right? That's where we
Mm-hmm.
were.
Yep.
And I think that is really important failure to understand how spirituality and why spirituality even exists. Um, it's not about being self-centered, and I couldn't find the right phrase that I was looking for, but same for mine. My path has changed. I'm still pagan now, was pagan before, but what has
Mm-hmm.
changed in my path in the last 5 to 10 years is I can't I can't serve others without serving myself first.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just an important part of the process, an important part of the understanding and the learning um, of really figuring out what it is that we're trying to do. And that
Mm-hmm.
is be better, manifest, take action, organize, think. create better lives for ourselves so that we're
Mm-hmm.
more stable. And
Mm-hmm.
in doing that, people follow. And I'm not saying they follow the path. They also see and do and work and process. And if they don't, that's there. That's fine. Nothing wrong with
Mm-hmm.
that.
Well, I think the thing is like, I mean, a lot of people, like, a lot of different spiritual paths, especially like Christianity and Catholicism in particular, but a lot of spiritual paths has this focus on selflessness, doing for others before you do for yourself. I mean,
We see how
let's
that's
be,
worked out.
yeah, right. I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, what can you truly hope to accomplish for another person if you can't even feed yourself? Like, I mean, how realistic is it to put yourself onto the street in order to care for someone else? I don't find it realistic at all. I, I
Not
I don't I don't find it to be something that is has any logical premise in human nature. Human beings, we are designed, you know, from an evolutionary standpoint, to survive. The survival is the most important aspect of our existence, and to deny that very base premise, which is absolutely necessary, um, may not be logically sane, but for people who have faith, it's their world. Yeah, well,
Well, that's the thing. Putting like to me, what Christianity does in general. And this isn't a knock on Christianity. It's just my own personal idea. Christianity is putting you in a box, and you have to function within that box to serve somebody who's exterior, and that way you can be relieved of all of your responsibility, and continue on for salvation because you're afraid of dying. The worst thing you can do to a human being is put them in a box. The best thing that you can do for a human being is define your own personal boundaries within yourself.
mm-hmm,
Same thing, but there's a difference in who's in control. Is God in control or am I in control? And
mm-hmm,
for me, I'm in control. And the gods, goddesses, and entities that I work with help me be more in control of my own destiny. Because let's face it, God or no God, afterlife or no life, we are all going to die. Happy New Year. Just kidding. But I mean, seriously, it's one path wants to give you a box to live in and says if you live in the box, then you'll be okay. The other path says, make your own box, but don't be a douche, right? Which is the right place for a human being to be in? We weren't designed to have these external enclosures. It's why it's like I'm the worst nurse in the world. I don't have a problem with like anything that people choose to do, even if it causes harm to your physical body or your person. If it's something that elevates you or makes you do and feel and appreciate what it is you're trying to do. Maybe no offense to anybody, but maybe your pathway is to be a drug addict your whole life. Maybe that is where you're at. I have no control over that. And that's my point. Not that I think it's good or bad. I just don't have importance for it.
mm. Well, I mean, yeah,
Um,
that kind of goes
you
back
know?
to the idea that you can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped, even if you think that they need to be helped. It's the whole idea of trying
Yeah.
to save somebody's soul. It's like, if somebody's a drug addict and they enjoy being on drugs, you know, um, it's just
Their path.
it's
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 their
their
walk to
path,
walk.
exactly. It's like, so if, like, when a Christian comes in here and says, "Well, I want to save your soul," it's like, good luck, buddy. Uh,
You can always hold a light up for somebody, right? I can hold a light up so that you can see my walk. You can see my little cobblestone road off to the right. I'll hold a light up, but you don't have to take it. You still can walk. You make your own path. And that to me, that's what being pagan is really is walking. I know, I saw it. Is white is it's walking our own light, right? And I not like white light or light. I'm talking about like a directional light, right? You hold your light up and you walk your path, and if people get behind you and walk it with you, that's awesome.
Mm.
If they push you over, that's a douche move. That's not what this is about.
It's not.
And then
Well,
you'll probably ask God for forgiveness, and then you go to heaven and I go to hell. Well,
I
I'm
mean,
glad I
but
like it
that's the
hot. I
thing.
live in Florida.
Right. I mean, well, that's the thing, though. Like, I mean, that's always been kind of like my idea of what, like, the left hand path is, right? So, My idea of what the left hand path is the idea is the premise that you need to be able to take care of yourself before you can pretend that you can take care of other people. If you can't take care of yourself, stop pretending that you can take care of other people. You need to be able to take care of yourself. You need to be able to buy yourself food. You need to be able to pay your own rent. You need to be able to keep a roof over your head. You need to be in a good position, or what you find to be a good position, in order to help somebody else. If you're not in a good position, stop trying to help other people, because the only thing that you're going to do is you're going to drag people down to where you are, where they don't want to be. Right? Focus on yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a little selfish to make sure that you're okay. If you can't
And
give somebody money, don't give them money. If
it's
it's
not
fine.
selfish, right? What's the word that we've got to figure out? Because it's not selfish or
I don't think there's
self-centered.
anything wrong with selfish. I think the
There,
thing is
well,
I think societally, like, with that particular
I
vernacular,
don't
we've kind of
know.
built this idea where,
Definitions, though.
because I mean, well, the idea of being selfish is think of yourself. You think about
Yeah,
yourself.
no, and
Your
think
own.
of yourself above others, and that's not true. Like, because you're not talking about being selfish above others. You're not going to steal somebody's car because you're thinking about only yourself and you want that car. That's different.
Well, that's
There's
an
got to be a better
extreme.
phrase. You know what I
I
mean?
mean,
Well, no,
there might be.
definition.
There might be, but the thing is like I think like a crashing airplane, grab the
Yeah,
oxygen first so you can help others. Exactly,
that's not
exactly, Behemoth.
that's not the definition of selfish. There's got to be a better word because remember too, when we're talking and stuffing, stuffing. What the hell does that even mean? When we're stuffing,
You guess
when you're
stop
stuffing
on the brain.
the Thanksgiving, when you're stuffing the Thanksgiving turkey. Um, but no, there's got to
Getting
be a
in
better
deep.
word because when you say selfish, it turns everybody off immediately. I know what you mean. We know what you mean. But there's something there to explain. It's like, I don't know. There's got to be a better word. I hate selfish. And selflessness is fake. There's no such thing.
Turkey. Like, wait, what, turkey?
Look,
Um,
maybe I didn't want 2021 to end and I'm just thinking about Thanksgiving. Or maybe I want 2022 to already be over. So I'm thinking about the next Thanksgiving. Maybe I'm just thinking about food because I'm kind of hungry again.
I mean, turkey and stuffing should not be relegated to only Thanksgiving. I mean, that's some good shit. So,
I love stuffing. I'm weird. That's like my favorite food. That and mac and cheese. But anyway,
hey,
anybody have
yeah.
a better word, like a better self-regarding. I kind of like that.
Mm,
Self-elevating. I mean, all those sound new agey. Like to me, but selfish has a connotation. You're right, but I mean, by definition, it's at the expense of others or without regard to others.
hmm.
And that's not what LHP is, from what I see.
No, it's not. I
It's
mean,
it's
like,
strengthening your foundation so that you can hold others up if you need to, but you're not gonna hold them up if it's gonna make it worse or make it worse for you. Like, you shouldn't I do believe you shouldn't put yourself at a disadvantage to help somebody else. I think that's dumb because that's one of those people think that's selfish. I don't.
well, it's one of the reasons. It's one of the reasons that I've always considered myself, or like publicly labeled myself, a
Yeah.
philosophical Satanist, because I do look at the Satanic Bible as a book of philosophy. Like I believe that more than a tome of theological belief. I think that the Satanic Bible is more relevant in today's society as a book of philosophy, a book of philosophical ideas. And when you look at the nine Satanic tenets, or statements rather, I do believe that they fit very well into modern society. And I think that these are things that people need to pay attention to. Taking care of yourself, making sure that you as an individual are okay before you try to start taking care of other people. Like, or this concept of you that you need to love everybody. You can't possibly love everyone. You can't. And if you do sit there and say that you love everybody, then what does that say about the people that are closest to you that truly deserve your love? It's cheapened, it's lessened. It's you can sit there and say, oh, there's different levels. Yeah, but it's the same word. It's the same conceptual emotion. To love everyone is going to cheapen the connection that you have with the people that truly deserve your love. And there's just a lot of things within the nine Satanic statements that I find valid philosophically, in today's society rather than other religions. I mean, I honestly think the Bible is fucking outdated. Like, the concepts and ideas in the Bible are outdated. shit that they talk about maybe was easy to do when, their best form of currency was fucking bartering. But, that's just not how things are now. And so, I do consider myself a philosophical Satanist because I look at that book as a book of philosophy that I find valid, in today's society. And people get pissed at me for that. Like Satanists get pissed at me for that because I'm taking away the theological aspect of it. And then like everyone else gets pissed off at me because they just hear the word Satanist and they're like, "Oh shit, man. Like you're a Satanist? Do you kill kittens?" It's like, get the fuck out of here. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
I think it's important because I'm thinking my brain waves are very similar to what Unexplained Possibilities just posted. I don't think it's lessened, but if you love everyone, as try to respect those you may not agree with and let them do their thing while you do your thing. And I think you would probably agree with that, right? And that was kind of where my brain was sitting in agreeing with that. It's not. It's about what do you, as a personal experience, define as love. Love has many different things. It has emotional love, physical love. It has relationship love. Relationships between lovers and friends who love each other, and then the love of your neighbor, the love of your community, the love of your country, the love of your other. So it really depends on what you're defining love is, and it's important that we do define that because I can tell you there are people that I know that are in my circles that do truly love everybody, even the complete assholes and jerks, and it is not lessened. Like from my personal perspective, but that is also because my way of upbringing has always been about that kind of a perception of love.
Mhm.
And I think it's important that there's a difference explained there. It's not, to me, it's not lessened um, when you're looking at it in that broad perspective. But I liken it to because I have that Virgo brain and that logical brain of like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which I do know if anybody happens to be into psychology that is no longer like the golden standard, but nothing on it, it still works. There are certain things you have to attain in order to achieve something to better yourself. Like you're not going to self actualize if you don't have food and water security. You know where your next meal is
Mhm.
coming from, or if you
True.
don't have psychosocial security, or if you don't have a place to live and shelter. To get to self actualization, well, nothing on Maslow's hierarchy of needs from a non spiritual psychological standpoint says anything about loving thy neighbor. It's selfish. It's a selfish need system. You have to get to self actualization before you can do anything else at the end, right? That
Yeah.
pyramid stops at self actualization. That's where you have achieved the things that you feel you need to in this lifetime. And from a spiritual perspective, that is your enlightenment, which is a different
Mhm.
definition for each person that experiences it.
So I think s- I'm going to try to explain this as best I can. And I know that this is going to come out wrong. And I know that
I'll correct you.
most of most of you are not going to be able to understand what it is that I'm trying to get across. But this is how that I look at things. So then this is like I'm 35 years old. I am like Shay Mary, welcome. Um. So yeah, I'm gonna do the best I can here. All right. And if people get pissed off at me, it's not my fucking problem. But I'm not trying to piss anybody off. I'm gonna explain it as best I can. So to put this, we'll go with the nice things first. So that way everybody doesn't go. So do I care about the well being of people and humanity? To some degree, yes. Not completely, because people are fucking idiots. But generally speaking, like I do care about people. Specifically, like people and things that like are defenseless. I have, you know, a lot of kind of like um, emotion for that. So, children, animals, things like that. But generally speaking, because you put the knife down, you're going to get me banned.
It's my micro sword. It's a letter opener.
I don't give a shit. It's a sharp object on a YouTube channel.
There are sword YouTube channels, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah, but they're not randomly holding up a knife like a psycho.
I'm not. It's an unbox therapy letter opener for anybody who wants to know.
Oh, okay, okay. Um,
Great
so,
channel, by the way.
um, But generally speaking, I hate people. I dislike people, generally speaking. Nothing personal against an individual, but I generally don't like people because people have proven to me, this is anecdotal, of course, but people have proven to me throughout my life, in the last 35 years of my life, that generally speaking, people cannot be trusted. Everyone has their own agenda, and nobody actually really gives a shit about you except for yourself. Now, that's not to say that I don't, again, care about people. I do, right? I don't believe that someone that doesn't deserve, if somebody doesn't deserve to be wrong, they shouldn't be wronged. I hate injustice. Injustice is something that, of all in any form, people being taken advantage of, being hurt, that don't deserve it, that truly have a good heart. Like, I take everything in a case by case basis. Right. So for each individual person that I meet, I find a different, like, I basically kind of relegate them to the same standards that I have in my head. And then I basically kind of make a decision in my head whether or not that is the type of person that I want to kind of have in my life. And it depends. Like, depending on what level you are involved in my life is depending on, like, where I kind of put you on that totem, right? And it's a very complicated way of kind of going about things. But I'm not going to sit here and say and generally say that I love everybody, because I don't. I don't love everyone. I generally think people are pieces of shit, like generally speaking, until proven otherwise. And many people, and I'm not saying that, like, when I say that, like, a lot of people, well, why should anybody prove anything to you? You don't prove something to me by me saying, well, you need to prove this. That's not how it works. You prove to me that you're a good person by being you. Do what it is that you do day to day as you spend time with me, and that is enough to prove to me whether or not you're a piece of shit. You don't have to do anything special on my fucking behalf to prove to me that you're a good person. If you're a good person, you're a good person. It's going to show, and I'm going to take that into account. You don't have to prove fuck all to me personally. But generally speaking, I don't like people. Now, is that maybe because of shit that I've been through in my past and, fucking up the way that I think? Maybe, but it's worked for me up to this point. I have a close, like, a very limited amount of people that I consider close to me. And those people that I consider close to me are, to me, fucking family. If you're one of those people, you know who you are. So that's just how my brain works. But I'm not going to sit here and say that, yes, I love my community. I love these people, and I love my country. And the idea, for example, let's go on that, for example, for a quick second. I'm American, right? Am I patriotic? To a point, I suppose. There's an idea. I'm patriotic to the idea or concept of what the United States could be, or what it should be. Is that what it is? Fuck no. Fuck no. It's a long way fucking off, from what it should be. But it doesn't really have anything to do with the people. Again, it's a case by case basis. Some people make it better. Some people make it worse. But to generalize, like, we like to sit there and talk about, like, when we generalize things negatively, that's a bad thing. But we generally don't talk about generalizing things in a good way, right? We like to generalize. It's what we like to do. We like to kind of lump things together just to kind of make shit easier, right? For our brains to process shit. So we like to sit there and say, well, don't generalize that everybody's this one thing that's negative. But a lot of people do that when it comes to good things. They're like, well, this is good because it's this. Not necessarily. It's It's a very subjective thing, right? Everything we're talking about is very subjective. So if somebody wants to be in my life, then they want to be in my life. And I will go by situations and things that happen and figure out how I feel about you as a person. Whether or not I like you in my life or I don't like you in my life. You know, but beyond that, I'm not going to sit here and say that, yeah, I love every single one of you. I appreciate for example, everybody in this chat. I appreciate you. You give me something, you give us something, that you can't get back. You're spending your time right now listening to us, talking to us, giving us your ideas. We're growing together, right? And though I don't know many of you personally on any level, from the conversations that we have had and the things that I've seen and the ideas that you've shared, you know, I appreciate every single one of you deeply and greatly. And I appreciate the people that challenge me, including Mystic. All of you that challenge my ideas and kind of give me your ideas and put things forth. I want this to be a safe place for everybody to kind of express their ideas and their concepts. You're not going to get attacked. You're not going to get torn down. Because one of the biggest things I believe in is the ability for people to express those opinions, those ideas, and have a conversation about them. So those of you that are here, I may not know you personally. I can't sit here and tell you that I love you, but I can tell you that I greatly appreciate you, and I greatly appreciate that the time that you that you put into this channel, and being with us every Saturday. Now I know Mystic wants to say something. He's dying to get
He
something
does.
out, so
He does.
go for it.
Um, so this I think is where um our subjective perspective is most widely different. Um, when when I speak of or talk about love of humanity or love of the conversation, the first thing that I worked on as an individual with some of the things that I've also, and everybody's got something in their past, right? I mean, that's, well, not everybody. I guess some people, don't, but we've been through things. And my brain, my heart, my path starts from a positive perspective. This is where a lot of people give me the unicorn vomit moniker, which I like. It's fun, um, because the important thing for me has been not that because you do me wrong or because I disagree. Well, that's a bad example, but because you do me wrong or because humanity is as futile as some may have mentioned, or most of humanity, that it has to be deemed as not worthy or not available to me as an individual in order to live my life comfortably and safely and positively and in a manner that I prefer and low stress, mind you, as much as possible. Um, I believe that the majority of humanity is positive. It is good. Um, I believe that people do things for reasons. I believe that we are very good at screwing up as much as possible because that's what humans do. And just because you screw up with me, I will still give you space and allowance to exist in your own area from me, from my perspective, from my seat. You do whatever you want, but from my seat, I'm still going to allow you to do that. I'm going to create a space for you to be who you are. And with me, I'm going to be standoffish and we're going to be held apart, but I still love you. Right. And to me, that is the love of humanity for me, is what allows me to exist because I know people that have done me incredible wrongs. I don't consider them bad people. I don't consider them unworthy of my love because of how I define love. I do consider them unworthy of my time or my energy. That's different, right? So there are people. I can think of many good personal examples. I can think of some certain people that maybe we share in common, and I've been treated by them in a way that's incredibly terrible, subjectively to the situation, right? Not somebody stabbed me in the stomach or something. but treated me poorly or talked about me. I mean, my work example where I talked about work to this person, um, I still have positive feelings about this person. I don't think they're a bad person. I think they're misguided. I'm judging them, sure. I mean, I don't care about judgment. I think judgment is a fine thing from yourself in order to protect yourself, right? You need to be able to create your own space of protection. But is she a bad person? No. Um, is she evil or not worthy of love? No. Do I still want to spend time with her and respect her and help her grow if I can? Sure. You know, and my general stance on life is that most people are good people and want to be good people, and maybe they don't know how, or they make mistakes, or they don't know how to get there. But for me, once they hit a certain, thank you, bartender gets a tip later. I know that's supposed to be funny if anybody in the chat gets that full joke. Um, what? Oh, he's hanging around now. But I mean, then that's a little bit of difference, you know, and I think it might even be similar when you think about it on the base level. But you know, my positivity isn't naivety, and that's where people get a little bit confused sometimes. It does cause me extra stress when I worry too much about what others are thinking or feeling, but that is part of who I am. Like, I care about how other people feel and think and react because I do have a love for them that is beyond um a description of just being an interactor. Like, the team that I work with for my job, I love them. Like, I have a love for them. It's not the same love that people define, but I have a love for them as a human being, even if they do these great, terrible, annoying things and make mistakes and screw stuff up. Because if I get to the point where I'm like, I need to write you out of my life, it's going to be because I'm protecting myself against further damage versus not the love of them as humanity, right? And I'm talking about everybody. I mean, the people who I can't stand. This might make a lot of sense to you. To me, individuals who have a certain political affiliation, who vote for certain political affiliations, are trash. They're the worst people because they voted for something or they worked for something that is against my personal interest. If I was only concerned about how I feel, I would cut those people out completely and say, look, you're not allowed in my bubble because that causes me stress because of how I feel and I react. But I don't. And the reason I don't is because you allow space for other people to exist in their own personality, in their own process, and their own ideals. And that love still exists because they're human beings, because we are all so incredibly screwed up. All of us, even the most put together person you find. I'm like a Tibetan monk has some screw up somewhere in his head, right? Now, there are lines. We've talked about those lines on here. Those lines are where you actually cause harm to those who are unable to protect themselves. That is a
Hmm.
hard limit line for me.
Same.
And I think that should be a hard limit line for anybody. I don't care what your political ideologies or thoughts are. I can get along with you. I may not like you, but I can still love you as a human. May not like you, but when you cross those certain lines of anything against children or animals or somebody who cannot protect themselves, that is the hard line. Other than that, we're gonna work it out. But again, it's all in the subjective definition of love, and I think that's one of the differences
Well, I
is
don't.
how we
I don't.
define it. If we
I don't
redefined it,
think
we would agree if we had different words for it to
so.
explain it.
So, for example, like when you talk about like the team that you work with and like loving the team and the people that you work with, like so, I can believe that. Like I can accept that, right? Because you spend a specific amount of time with those people, you have an understanding of those people, you know, and there's an affection that grows when you begin to understand a person, right? It's not to say that you can't love many different people on a different level. Of course you can. But I think to say that generally an overall like in an overall encompassing manner that I love everybody in the planet, I don't know fucking everybody in the planet. You know, there's this motherfucker like you see that documentary on Netflix. It's like don't fuck with cats.
No,
Okay, probably if you don't like things happening to animals, probably don't watch it.
then I won't
You
watch
know,
it. No.
um, but you know, there's a very specific reason why the documentary is called "Don't Fuck with Cats." Put two and two together with that. And apparently there's like so they basically put it out there that there's a one big general rule on the internet. Don't fuck with cats. Right? And there is somebody that did. And I don't know this
That the
person.
YouTuber girl?
No, not the one that threw
Oh,
the cat over her head. No, I mean, but then again, I mean, you could
bitch.
probably lump her in it. No, this is what this guy.
See, I
Okay,
don't love
so
her.
what this guy did. So there's a guy that they uploaded a video. I can't remember if it was on YouTube or somewhere else. This is years and years and years ago. They put, you know, two kittens inside of like this, the bag that has like a vacuum connection. And you can suck all the air out of it,
Mhm.
and you can vacuum seal the bag. He put two kittens in it and sucked all the air out of it. And he recorded it and then he
Murder is
uploaded the video.
okay for those kind of situations. That is
Right,
justified
right,
homicide.
right.
Mhm.
You see what I'm
But I
talking about?
still but to me, in the way that I view spirituality as a web of connectedness and the universal source being the universal source of all things, those individuals still deserve an allowance of space for feeling and having love.
Yeah, fuck
So I still and that's again the definition, right? The subjective definition of love. We talked about
it.
that. If there were other words, we would agree if we had those other words to explain
Maybe,
those things
possibly,
individually, I
yeah,
think.
possibly, like,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, but like, yeah, love, like, I don't. The only thing that they truly
I would still
deserve
murder them because I'm
is,
a human being and they're assholes.
like, no, I wouldn't murder them.
I would. I
I would
wouldn't be
make
able to.
sure. Oh no, I would make sure that they spent like the next few years begging for their life. But that's just me.
Mhm.
I wouldn't murder them like at least right away. I mean, there would
Look,
be a significant amount of time where
we agree. We're both Dexter on that one because that's
yeah, that's
not allowed.
yeah, I can't fucking fuck like if you've ever been cruel to an animal, hope and pray to God I don't fucking find out or whatever deity you believe in because yeah. Again, it goes back to that whole idea of like knowing that you're capable of great cruelty, but not being cruel, and that is power. That is the true
Mhm.
like exercise of your own power as an individual is understanding that you are capable of great cruelty as a person. Like it's not that you are capable, and understand like the definition of capable. It's not to say that you are capable as in if you have the mindset to do it, but you have the physical capability of doing this and you make a conscious decision not to do that thing. That is power, right?
Yep.
Because to sit there and say that, well, I don't have the mental capacity of doing something like that, you don't know that. You don't know that. If you have a kid and somebody's holding a gun against your kid's head and they say you have to kill that cat or I'm going to kill your kid, I'm pretty sure if there's any parents in this chat, they're probably openly going to say they're going to kill the cat.
I'm not a parent. I would kill the cat, but I think before that happened, I would probably just have a seizure and die. Like I think I would completely just seize up, and they'd be like, "What the hell is wrong with this kid?" And I'd just be like, "Yeah." But I don't even
Maybe.
have kids, and I would pick the kid, even though I hate human beings as well for the most part, which is
Yeah.
completely different than loving them. I can love and hate them at the same time. Don't ask. I'm having too much wine at the moment. We'll get there later. Another podcast.
Yeah, right. So it's one of those things. It's like understanding that you are capable of something and not doing it, and and then that's where kind of like the power lies. And that this was an individual that was very well capable of it and did partake in it, and that is not power. Cause harm to something that cannot defend itself is not an exercise of power. It's an
No, it is not.
exercise of it is an exercise of insecurity and weakness.
In the highest degree.
And people need to understand that if you harm something or someone that cannot defend themselves, whether they be young, elderly, or on four legs,
Well, the desire to harm without necessity for protection just doesn't make sense. It's the same way when we talked about like hexing and cursing and all of those things. Some do, some don't. I do, I have. But never, never would it come out of my brain or my hands if there wasn't a what I would perceive as an appropriate reason. Granted, that could be
mhm,
different for anybody, right? But if I don't like you and you annoy the shit out of me and I can't stand you and you bug me, not a reason. If I know you killed my cat, but I can't prove it, bitch, you getting cursed and hexed, and you're going to drive your car off into a ravine. You're not going to hurt yourself, but you're going to wreck your car. You're going to lose your house, lose your job, lose your girlfriend, lose everything you've ever had. Sure. Yeah. I'm okay with that. How's that for
Yeah.
love and light and rainbow vomit? That rainbow just went black, bitches. Okay, I'm done. I think I've had too much wine at the moment,
I
so
love
please
it.
forgive
I
me.
love it. I love it.
That pot of gold.
Your DNA.
Yeah, I like that one. Another
you know,
t-shirt.
right? No, so it's just one of those things. It's like, everything is like, the point that I'm trying to make is that everything is kind of like based on circumstance and is situational. Like it depends on the person. Like, I can't sit here and say that I love every human being in the planet, because I don't. I don't love every human being I don't know who they are as people. Like, I can sit here and say, like, the point of me bringing up that individual was to sit there and was to explain the idea that that person, honestly, if they got stoned to death in the middle of the street, I would not shed a tear at all. And not knowing everyone in the world, you don't know who's that type of person.
I still would.
What, love them or stone them?
Both. Both. Because our definition of that love is different, right? So I mean, maybe another way to
That's
ask, and
some
I don't
tough
know if
love,
this.
man.
Well, yeah, but the love that I have is for the humanity of the individual, right? Of what they are and could be, because I do believe again that we are all connected. I am connected with the people who hate me for being gay, who hate me for being pagan, who beat me up as a bully in high school, middle school, grade school, the people who have talked about me behind my back for no reason when I've treated them nothing but well. I still love them. I love them for who they are and who they can be.
Why does it sound
They
like you're
have
talking about a
made.
very specific person when
Yeah.
you say that?
Well, there's a couple.
I mean, I can think of
Um,
one that we know mutually.
and that's a very, yeah, but that's a very limited. That's not a hate. That's a, like, really, you could do better. But ultimately, if I have to, and I guess I don't have to, but I choose to continue to believe that we are all connected, every single one of us, no question, no
Oh,
doubt,
I believe
soul
that. I
connected.
believe
Yeah.
that.
So I am connected to the person who did that to the cats. If I don't love them for their humanity, or for what is inside of them, for whatever dumb human reason that they fucked up, the love for their humanity and for their existence and for who they maybe could be or should be or were, or what happened to them, or whatever their decision making that got them to that point, how stupid they are, I will still stone them to death, and I would torture them right along with you, and I would not feel guilt for a second.
Me
But
either.
in my definition of how I feel in spirituality and love, I would still love them, and I could say that I love them as a person, and it's just how my brain works. Like, and I'll be honest, my my personal life, like my upbringing and my all that stuff, it was not a um how to say, love wasn't a thing. It wasn't. It just wasn't. So my view of love is on a very broad, self-created way, and probably part of a protection mechanism for some points of it, right? I also learned how to hate very easily, and true hate for behaviors, but I have very, very, very well separated love and hate. Like, those are two separate things that can't exist on one person very easily for me. So I can hate every single behavior that you do and still love you as a person. I liken it to, I think of it as, if, and I don't, but if I had kids, right? I know that was funny. If I have kids, um, and my kid did that and made all those mistakes and was the worst person ever to exist in humanity, I would still love them. And so if we're all connected, then to me, it is understood that I love the whole of humanity, or else I am by myself on an island. And that's just, I mean, it's just my perception of it, right? And again, we talk about definitions, looking at it. I think if we had different words to express those different pockets of love, instead of love as one thing trying to express it along that continuum, our views are probably very similar to most people. And I say it
Right.
all the time. I hate people. They annoy the living shit out of me. Most people get on every nerve that I have, and I don't like to be around them unless I'm getting paid money to do it. I- If it makes anybody feel any better, I'm not making any money doing this. So the love is real. But seriously, like, it's yeah. And I
Yeah,
mean, that
I
is
just
another
think.
t-shirt. We have another
I mean,
t-shirt.
I just go the opposite direction with it, like because it feels safer to me. Like I'm not discounting anybody. I'm not sitting there saying that if somebody wants to get to know me or somebody wants to talk to me, I'm going to tell you to go fuck off because I automatically think you're a piece of shit. No, that's not true at all. You know, when somebody comes to me and starts talking to me, or when I go to somebody and I start talking to them, there's an automatic kind of like
You start at
purgatory
minus two
point.
points, right?
Uh-huh. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not that like I'm going to sit there and not give them an opportunity to be themselves and show that they're a good person. And again, I reiterate the point. I don't ask anybody to do anything special. You don't have to do something specific to prove to me that you're a good person. I'm not even going to say anything to you. Like I'm not going to open up and say, "Oh, by the way, I fucking hate people, so you need to do a couple of things." No. I'll talk to you like a normal human being. We'll have a normal conversation, you know, and then we'll go from there. And, depending on how the conversation goes and the things that I notice in your behaviors, yeah, I'm racking those things up against each other. What am I comfortable with? What am I not comfortable with? What's a red flag? What's not a red flag? And then I kind of come down to a decision or a determination of whether or not like I want life as a person. And if I don't want you in my life, guess what? I just don't return your phone calls. Not going to tell you to fuck off. You're a horrible fucking person because I say so.
Can you love
But
somebody even though they're a horrible person, though?
somebody, I could love someone that used to be a horrible. Kind of like opened up and realized that they were doing.
I think that's a very left-hand path answer.
Like
So
if they
fitting.
realize that they did wrong in the past, not even necessarily against me, just in general. And then through that understanding have decided to say, I want to be a better person for myself and those around me. That is a decision and an action that I can respect and give that
Yeah.
opportunity to and say, okay, you fucked up, but you're
And that
recognizing it
that
and you're owning it.
that's a separate thing for me. Those are 2 different buckets.
Is one bigger than the other one?
Oh, yeah. Hate bucket, way bigger.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's a great thing, but that to me, when somebody has done a lot of bad things and they continue to do bad things, I think of them as stupid and annoying and irritating and all of these other things, and even a bad person and evil. But to me, the love is still there. And, you know, I mean, I'm sure people have a perception of me of being a complete asshole and they don't love me. I'm a lovable guy.
Mel, what the fuck are you talking about? You've never fucking, you haven't sent me a message, nothing, no postcard, man. Like, I mean, like,
No
I'm
carrier
I'm
pigeon.
yeah, man. Like, I'm not feeling the love over here, man. Like,
Can you
I'm
feel
feeling
the
left out.
love tonight?
No, because I don't feel the love tonight because Mel is just he's not
I'm
showing it. He's
telling you,
not giving
man,
it.
the amount of money
Going
we can make off of t-shirts tonight is amazing. I'm still stuck on that.
Look,
Seriously, sometimes you have to punch someone to show your heart. Like that is money. That's money. That's like just dollar signs on a t-shirt. Just print
and
it.
you're just telling everybody so everybody can do it.
Yeah, because nobody will, including us. I don't know how.
Hey, we've got the Goetia Muncher.
I've had too much wine. I've had too much wine. I'm done. It's been nice, y'all. All I heard and saw in my head was a Goetia muncher. The fuck is the Goetia muncher? Oh my god, I quit.
Oh my god. That's wonderful. All right. So we are a bit over time. I apologize for the breakup in the episode. So now we've got like two episodes going. So hey, we posted double in one night. There you go. Um, but
Ah,
make one thing very clear. I appreciate every single one of you here in the chat, lurking, coming in, coming out, going other places, coming back. Your time spent here, your likes, your comments, everything is greatly appreciated. And I will always greatly appreciate you and the things that you guys do and the time that you spend with us does mean everything. And by the way, quickly, everybody. So this is going to be a thing. We are at 491 subscribers currently. We are 9 subscribers away from 500.
500
Once,
subscribers gets a Goetia Muncher shirt.
there you go, right?
Sorry.
Once we hit 500, I will
Oh.
be doing a giveaway for something. I don't know what, but once we hit 500 subscribers, because that's our halfway point. Yeah, that's our halfway point to 1,000 and becoming, being able to apply for YouTube Partner. And trust me, guys, once we become YouTube partners, bigger things are coming in. There's going to be a significantly larger giveaway. Okay. I'm thinking, for this particular giveaway, I'm thinking like a tarot deck is going to be, in order for a giveaway because, we're all a tarot deck or an oracle deck, something of that nature. Something,
So I can sign
you know.
somebody else's deck, and then it'll like lose value.
So that is what we're looking at. So I just want to let you guys know that. Also, the Order of Baphomet, we have a Facebook page now. So if you guys are on Facebook, please join the Order of Baphomet over on Facebook. There is the Gilded server. If you guys are interested in learning more about what it is that I do, what it is that Mystic does, or even Rook, which is floating around here somewhere, we're all in there and willing to teach and talk to you guys. Maybe could do you guys some reading, stuff like that. So join the Gilded. There's also a Discord server, which is a little bit more of like a mixed bag. Like there's a lot of stuff going on over there. Like so, if music and all other types of entertainment are happening over there. Also, go subscribe to Mystics YouTube channel, to Pondering Pagans, putting out some good stuff. Go subscribe to Unexplained Possibilities. Mel's voice is fucking amazing. Like he has a
5 stars.
naturally born, voice for documentaries. Just insane. Like
And
I
book
want him,
reviews.
right. Well, I want him to get a job at National Geographic, so National Geographic becomes interesting again. Or like Discovery Channel or something of that nature. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all of it. Did you throw the links in there at all?
I'm working on them now.
Okay. He's working on the links, chat. He's working on the.
I'm working on it.
Did I miss anything?
I don't
Oh,
think so.
so obviously you guys are well aware at this point. Book is in the works. I am giving snippets of the book for the patrons on my Patreon. So each month you guys get like a little snippet of what it is that's getting written down and put into the book. There are several different tiers that you can enter in at. So, by all means, go check out the Patreon. Follow all of us, both of us, on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, even. So we got all of those going, all those social medias going. Just follow us everywhere, because sometimes we get a wild hair up our ass when we actually post something outside of this. I have a Twitch channel, which is Mr. Malice with a Y, spelled up here, where I do artwork and gaming and things like that. If you guys are interested in checking that out. But yeah, guys, thank you all. Love your faces. We appreciate you. Thank you for being here. We're almost to 500. Giveaway at 500. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week
Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful evening. Fuck out.
Deuces.
Always.